Well, welcome everybody to the big show. And this is a big show. Obviously, we're talking about Rush. There's no bigger band than that. And also, we're also have a great bunch of great people, stellar musician, wonderful people, and just great everything. I'm really wound up about this. I'm really happy. So without further ado, we're going to start going around the horn and introducing everybody. So my official co-host, Mr. Pope Metallicus the First. Hail your highness.
How's it going, guys? I'm so glad to be talking to the rest of this band because I had so much fun doing the research for the first one. Like, I hadn't heard half of it because I'd never really done a deep dive into their early stuff. And then this period of Rush, it may not be some of my favorite stuff, but it's certainly why they've held up so well. And actually, we'll get to one of the albums that got me into them later.
All right. Now, I got you focused on the screen there. Do tell about your avatar you got.
Well, this was done for me by a no-name reviewer over on Twitter. He's a great artist, does a lot of great work. It started as I wanted a, just the guitar to use as a template, not as a template, but as a kind of baseline to go for when I build my own Flying V that I have the kit for. And I was just like, you know what? I could use a new channel avatar. Mine's over 2 years old, so I had him do that. And within 24 hours, he got back to me with these, and I absolutely love them to death.
Nice. And that's your Flying V guitar too, right?
Yeah, well, it will be one day.
Okay.
It's very similar.
All right, fair. My second guest is Mr. Not Geddy Lee, Mr. Corey Sir Talks a Lot. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right, bro. I'm glad to be back. I won't lie. I wasn't able to make it through their entire discography. So at a certain point, I'm going to hit a wall and just seem like an ignorant boob sitting on the corner. It's going to be good.
Right, well,
it's going to be good.
Oh, that's fine. You know what? I'm already there. So, but that's fine. That's why I got experts around here. So again, another friend of the channel and a wonderful man. I've followed him. He's Mr. Pop Culture Minefield, and we've been friends for a couple of years now, and it's been a great ride. Say hello, Gary.
Hey, we're such good friends. I even take your drunk calls. They're great.
I know, it's wonderful. I know, he's a great guy. He doesn't judge.
That's right. Former drummer. Here I am. Oh, drummer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're
and I'm former military, so I know how to improvise, adapt, and overcome.
So he's professionally homeless.
He's professionally homeless, is what he's saying.
You joke, but I am. I'm couch surfing.
Yeah.
And also a great guy.
I'm okay.
Yeah. Of course you are. Now, another friend of mine, a good guy, he's from Scotland. And may I say, gentlemen, I'm sorry. Pope, you'll like this. Brian, I kind of cheated on you. I went.
Oh, that's Irish, lad. That's so Scottish.
Diddly potatoes.
I know. But anyway, regardless, you're always close to my heart. You're in my heart. You're in my soul, as Rod Stewart once said.
Oh, good one. Well
so
played.
Let me introduce to you Mr. 70s rock fan.
Let me introduce to you, after all these years, 70s
the
rock
act you love for all these years. That's
band.
right.
It's always good to be behind Gary in the introductions.
Yeah. I'll face the other way for you, Brian.
Behind Gary's position, a lot of people have found themselves.
It's one of your favorites.
Just to remember to spit on it first, Brian.
Exactly.
So good evening, and good evening to you, Christian. Thank you for doing this again. Great job. Good evening to everybody out there in the chat. It's good to see you all, and thank you for being here to support Christian and this wonderful topic, which is one of the greatest bands in rock history and Canadian. Because I'm a Canadian citizen, so, go Canada.
Hey,
yes, it's the good part of Canada.
I can tell he was Canadian by that accent.
Don't talk about the other stuff. The other stuff we don't want to know about the other things that are going on here. But
Did our lawyer call you?
Yeah, I'm. $10 is $10.
That
Due
was
to
the-
inflation, it's now 20. Just saying.
Yeah, it's 20.
20, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, hey, my
It's
girlfriend's in the audience right now. She's yelling, "Hi, Brian." Not a damn word to me.
Anima. Yeah, and she was one of the first one in here too. So hello, Anima, and everybody. And last but not least, a new friend that I have met on the online, a wonderful guy. I just listened to this guy talking. I'm like, you know what? I love this guy. This guy makes so much sense. It just happens he's a ex-Navy vet. Just to add to his coolness, he's got his own channel on Rumble, and this is where me and him hit it off. He told me, I'm the biggest Rush fan in the United States. I'm like, dude, we were meant to be friends. Mr. Republic Sentinel. How are you, buddy?
Very good. How's it going? I really
It's cool.
appreciate you having me on. I cannot wait to speak about this. Is my favorite era that you're about to cover of Rush.
Cool. And
Absolutely.
and you can
Wait a
fill in
minute.
for me and Corey
That means
when
you
we start
cover
getting
all of
deep.
North America. Both of you do.
Yes. Well, no,
Yes.
we're
Holy
not
shit.
in Mexico, right? North
That's not North America. That's Central.
Technically, it is.
Mexico's North America.
Is it North America?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
Holy shit.
Officially.
Well, to be fair, the United States isn't known for its geography knowledge.
That's right. As long as it's able to aim weapons at some place.
Well, yeah.
That's all it needs to know. Where is it? Where do we point them?
That's right.
What was the old saying? I aim for the moon, only sometimes I hit London.
Was it- yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
a lot could be said about the merits of that these days. So, you know,
All right, guys.
it's
without
good to meet
further ado-
Republic, by the way. I've obviously never streamed with you. It's good to meet you, sir.
Yeah,
and,
great to meet you,
Good to
man.
meet all of you guys.
good meeting both of you guys,
recognized
man.
Corey
and if
from
you're open to
Comics Division.
yeah,
I
I see another vet on here.
another vet as well. That's just great. Yeah.
well,
and
Brian's a
also-
vet too.
that's
Yeah.
right.
The
Well, we got the
The
RAF.
sheep doesn't
Air
count.
Force
As
and the Army. We got all three at the bottom.
And the,
That's right.
and the Marines.
and the Marines.
above.
We got a
Yes.
full. We got a
Our
full
Marines.
crew.
Yeah. But yeah, so Republic, I'll hit you up and get you onto one of my shows when we talk about music too. So Pope and
Sounds-
others. Yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah,
completely
Brian
down.
likes doing those shows.
Absolutely.
We've had some crackers, but not to distract from Christian and the
No. This is
topic for
great.
the night.
My
Had some
friends, we are
crackers.
here to shoot the
Crackers.
shit and chat.
white people?
Yes.
That's a different meaning. It's a cracker. means it's wonderful. It's great. And it could mean the same thing. I don't know. It
He's had a
depends
lot
on
of
your
white people.
viewpoint.
That's all I heard. He's had a lot
Yeah,
of white
you're right.
That's
guys.
what I thought of it as.
He really likes the white guys. That's what I heard.
I grew up in Virginia, and so cracker meant,
You
white guy.
can't say that about Gary. He likes them darker than that. But that's,
Little dark meat. Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, that's not fair. Gary, I know, is an open, equal opportunity backdoor, gentlemen.
Well, as I learned from the U.S. military, I'm an equal opportunity destroyer.
That's right.
There we go. Nice.
If it
Yeah.
has an asshole, he'll destroy it. Sorry.
Like my first sergeant once said, I hate everybody equally.
That's right. Yes.
Or,
That's right.
As a very famous Air Force general once said, the Marines don't have a racism problem. They treat everyone like they're black.
Yeah, that's right.
And I saw a good meme. It's
share
an
it.
old one now, but it's a good meme. No lives matter. You're all cunts. Fuck off.
Yep, there you go.
That's typically the Glaswegian view. That's for sure.
All right. So we'll start off with introducing our chat, which is, I think, the biggest chat I ever had. So all I have to do is bring in Gary here and, Sentinel and a few other people, and everybody shows up. So, all right.
Gary brings all the boys to the yard.
That's
true.
right.
And my milkshake brings the boys to the yard.
Can't resist it. So the jokes.
All right. So our first one in was Vince Womack at 2:30 this afternoon. So, hey, Vince, my little brother on the internet. We have Cole, a friend of Sentinel. We got this good-looking guy here, Christian Delorme. He's a handsome guy. And then we got Anima, who came in, Bonsoir Nerds. Low Spec, he often drops in. He's becoming a regular now. Anima. Vince again. Anima, Vince.
Good lady wife is here too.
Yes, I know. I gotta behave now. We got, of course, Davina Duckworth, the great Davina.
Oh, I know Davina. Yeah.
Yeah,
Davina's a great
she's
supporter
wonderful.
of us, yeah.
Why isn't Courtney on the show with us?
Because she was going out for supper, and then she told me, she just texted me while you guys were talking. She says, "I'll see what I can do." So, mind you, it's like 2:00 her time.
She's signing you on. She's
3 o'clock.
watching something on TV.
Yeah, maybe,
She has a good
Maybe.
time for us.
maybe. But
She's not here to
anyway,
shit
she's
on my drumming, so
She's invited all the time. So, regardless whether she shows up or not. And a new guest, first timer, the lovely Sherry. Sherry, she
Hi,
made it
Sherry.
from
Hey,
my
Sherry, we
channel.
love
Sherry.
we love Sherry.
Yeah.
She's great.
Are we gonna get stabby Sherry tonight? That'd be
You've
fun.
got more women in your chat than we normally get in any of our shows.
I
Yeah,
know.
for real,
Well,
dude.
that's because of Sentinel, right?
You got
Yeah.
more
He's,
women
he's
here
the
than
rock
I
fan. He's got the long
That's
hair.
right.
and he-
Yeah,
Wow.
I have it back right now, but there aren't any women in my chat ever. It's all a
Oh,
bunch
shit.
of, it's a sausage fest. We're all just hanging out, telling our manly stories. Oh, women decide to come by and hear that shit. So
and Courtney just showed up and she tells us I can maybe make it in a little, whatever that means in ladies' terms.
Just don't get dressed, Courtney. We don't. There's no need for
Yeah.
formalities. Formalities are not required. Casual show.
Exactly. Anyway, the camera is always on your face, so it's no big deal. All right. So without further ado, let's see if I can do this. Can I add to stage? Yes. Can I get rid of this? Yes.
here we
There
go.
we go. All right. So, sorry. As you can tell, it's amateur hour. But
It seems like a
so,
professional Dix Division production that
That's right.
Toxic Man Flu would put together. So you're good.
oh, okay. So
You're good.
I'm in the good league then. I'm okay.
Mhm.
So, all right. So, more or less, this is Rush. This is the middle art for 2112, but so iconic. I figured I'd just put it.
That was such a
for-
good album.
Yes, it was.
After the last stream that we did together, I went and listened to that entire album, and honestly, it was amazing.
Nice.
Like, it was incredible. Thank
It
you,
is.
Pope and Christian, for suggesting that. And that 70s rock fan, till you stop fucking sheep. No.
Well,
Never stops. Never stopping. That's what I say.
but that music doesn't scare the sheep away. It actually brings them together.
My sheep are all libertarians. They love Rush.
That's right. But let's go around. Gary, what's your experience with Rush?
My experience started in 1982
Okay.
when I started dating my ex-wife, and she introduced me to moving pictures.
Okay.
And I really I liked Fly By Night a lot. In fact, I'm trying to remember. It was because my senior year to graduate as a drummer, I had to play YYZ.
Oh,
Wow.
Corey, did you hear that, Corey? You're
Oh,
muted.
I couldn't hear you more, Corey.
You're muted.
Still muted.
That's what I do all the time. That's what I do. But yeah, no. I heard YYZ. That opening still really hard to get into.
It was so well. I got to tell you something. Neil Peart. I can't play drums like Neil Peart.
Who can?
It was just ridiculous, and to finally get that down to where I could pass was all I cared about. I didn't do it perfectly. I was just he's a precision drummer, but I didn't even know who they were when I did that. It was like the pick I had. It wasn't until I started dating Lori that I got introduced to Rush, and immediately like Moving Pictures is amazing. But then I heard Fly By Night, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a great album. And I was already into Genesis at this time. So this was like the Canadian version of Genesis for me.
Okay.
50-year anniversary of A Trick of the Tail being released, by the way, today.
Oh my God, what a great album.
Love that album. Yeah.
All right.
Dance on a Volcano. Oh,
So basically, Gary, it was a music class project that you didn't ask for, but you fell in love with.
no, I wouldn't say fell in love with it. That was my first exposure to it. I didn't much care for it. I'm still not a fan of the song YYZ, and I don't know if it's because I was so stressed out over doing that drum piece.
I'm not a fan of the
But-
airport, but
But I do like Fly By Night a lot, and I do like Moving Pictures. I didn't get much into 2112.
Okay.
And I wish I had, but it was those two albums that really hooked me.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And our new guest, Sentinel, because everybody else who watched part one, you know pretty much where we get our ideas. But Sentinel, you
Yes, sir.
are the gem here. You tell us how you became the greatest Rush fan living in the United States.
Yeah, right.
Well, Subdivisions. That was the first song that I ever heard that really, I mean, I had heard, Limelight and what Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer was annoying when I was young. I don't know why. It annoyed the absolute hell out of me. And to gently push back, 2112 was a fantastic album. Without question, I prefer Hemispheres. I thought that Hemispheres was just like, I guess maybe it's because they'd already gotten over that experimental phase because 2112 was really groundbreaking, right? So they had that experience already. Hemispheres was like just mind boggling. I can still listen to that all the way through and just, I'm in love. It's a great, great, great album. But yeah, I think that the song that hooked me the most was Subdivisions. That just that kicked my ass, and ever since I've been on a binge.
Good. Good. All right. So cool. So now we're going to start with their most popular. We're going to start discussing their most popular, their most successful commercially moving pictures. So it was 5-time platinum. No, sorry. Yeah, 5-time platinum, and it came out in early 1981 in February. I vaguely remember this one from my youth. So anybody has any thoughts on it? Pope, let's start with you. You're being the most quiet.
I mean, this album has been absolutely played to death in some cases, like Tom Sawyer. We will always hear it on rock radio, and I think that's why it has dropped so far in my estimation of this album. But YYZ, absolutely amazing musical piece. Pretty creative too, to add the intro that everyone complains about as the call, as basically being the Morse call letters for the Toronto airport, YYZ, as the actual musical intro to the track. But other than that, the musicality on it's absolutely insane. I love that slow synth track they add in the middle there, because this is right when they really started experimenting with synth in the early 80s, or until in the late 70s as well to an extent. But the absolute monster. Then you have my favorite Rush track of all time in Limelight.
Mhm.
And
Very
you know,
good.
you have Tom Sawyer on here. You have Red Barchetta on here, which is a very underrated track. The entire album is just excellent overall.
Nice. Brian?
Well, without rehashing the last show and obviously my history with the band, I was in full-on Rush, fully in love with Rush by this time. I mean, I'd seen them for the first time on the Permanent Waves tour, and absolutely was heavily into them by this time. And this album, whilst it isn't necessarily my favorite, which is always a thing that's a fluid thing anyway, this album is a monster, and it is possibly, well, it's one of the albums that shows off their musicality the most, their virtuosity, and the variety of things that they can do within that. Every track is phenomenal for me. I mean, I appreciate that. Yeah, Tom Sawyer is a little bit overplayed these days, unfortunately, especially as it's lyrically is so phenomenal.
Yes.
Limelight, I don't know what it's like in the U. Well, I do know what it's like in the US because I lived there, but Limelight gets a lot of play too. Especially you hear that all the time. So, but the other, it's still brilliant tracks though when you leave that aside. But the other stuff on here is just astounding. I mean, and they were starting to also though recognize the times they were living in by experimenting a little bit with somewhere that I know that Geddy wanted to go, and Alex this didn't necessarily want to go quite as far into. With Vital Signs, you're talking about a little bit of almost a new wave feel to it. So they were experimenting yet again and changing their sound a little bit towards the end of this album. So it's a phenomenal work of art, which is what makes the cover all the more ironic, of course.
And also, you could tell it was the end of their 20-minute songs, their 8-minute songs. They were being more, I don't know if they were being more radio friendly, or maybe, like you said, they were done.
Still
They were
clocked in
done.
at 10 minutes for the camera eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was coming to the end, right? After
Yeah,
these
they were changing. I mean, there's a band that's always changed throughout their
Right.
career. They were changing a little bit here too. You're right. Yeah.
By the way, Das Wolfen just showed up.
Hey, John.
Just
See you,
walked in the door from work.
Good
Hey,
man.
John.
You came right to the computer. John, I want you to meet Republic Sentinel right
How's it
beside
going?
you. He's a great Rush fan, just like you, and he's from the Midwest, just like you too. Great guy, great people
Nice
in
to
the
meet you.
Midwest.
Ah,
So
there is, and there isn't.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was gonna
well,
say,
I talk to the good ones.
there might be
so
good
it-
people in the Midwest, but the Midwest sucks ass. So that's just my humble opinion.
Right. And I want to say hello to Lady V, who just showed up. Thanks for joining us, Lady V. So, John, you showed up just in time. This is our first showcase album. What do you got about Moving Pictures?
Well, it's probably my favorite Rush album. And my favorite Rush songs on it is Red Barchetta.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Killer song. Killer
Yeah.
song.
And it's another song that, while isn't one of their 10-minute opus songs, it still has this storyline to it that they really paint this post-apocalyptic, or this
Dystopian. maybe, yeah.
dystopian world that you can see just from their words. I mean, you can see this world that where you're not allowed to have your own car, and
How prescient that was unintentionally.
That's right.
yeah,
Especially
exactly.
in Canada. You got to
So-
walk everywhere now. You have to walk.
Yes. No more.
And I
roads
want to point
either.
out that Limelight has one of the best guitar intros
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
of any of their songs.
Alex is one of the underrated guitar players of all time. His
Oh, for sure.
Life's a
Life's-
lot like
yeah.
Tony Iommi, where his riffs just become absolutely infectious, and it would be in your head all day.
And admit it,
Mm.
the thing I always found funny about him, he didn't look like he belonged in a rock band.
No, he doesn't.
Or, as Corey once said, rock and roll music has proved that ugly people get laid.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
I played music.
It's worse.
That's the main reason for getting into it. That's what Pete Townsend
yeah.
said. So why did you join? Why did you get in a band, Pete? Because I wanted to get laid.
That's right.
I think Lemmy from Motorhead said something very similar.
Because it doesn't work for drummers. But
No, of course not.
Shut up,
About
Brian.
that.
Yeah. I got laid at every gig,
Yeah. What do you
even when I
call-
didn't want to be.
What do you call a drummer without a girlfriend? Homeless. Apart from Neil Peart, of course.
Right.
But the lyrics, I mean, John wasn't finished, I know, but the lyrically, this astounding lyrics on these songs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Rush is not only do they have the licks and the riffs and stuff to go with the music, they have a sense of storytelling that very few bands match.
Yeah.
Mm.
Agreed.
It has Neil Peart, man. A
Yeah,
Look,
genius.
it's just the camera eye is a great example of a story that they're telling. It's a
Mhm.
magnificent song, and I know it's one of the longest, I guess, the longest song on the album, but it's all the way that they use the music. It's coming in the beginning and just swelling up and taking up all this space. It's man, they're a fascinating band, and that album. I don't know that it was necessarily my favorite, but it's definitely packed full of good songs. So
It's funny because you mentioned the length of the Camera Eye, and Rush had a lot of very long tracks in their. I never felt they were that long when you were listening to them.
agreed. Me either.
It didn't. You're not sitting there going, you know what?
Yeah,
there's
it's not like suffering through Mike Oldfield.
Yeah, there's another 15 minutes of this. God, get on with it. It was never like that because everything was telling a story, or even without the lyrics, the music was still telling a story, I think.
Maybe
For
they should
sure.
hire them to produce the next Iron Maiden record, because that's kind of exactly what Maiden's turned into.
Mm.
It's a 15-minute long song of, oh God, please get on with it already.
Yeah, exactly. I've never felt like that with Rush ever.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
It's because they maintained a dynamic feeling throughout. It wasn't the same thing repeated over and over and over.
Agreed.
You know, like as a person who makes hip hop music, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. You need variety in your fucking music, because an endless beat is torture for anyone that loves music.
Agreed.
And through the years, it's not like they reinvented themselves or anything. It's just simply they would segue around and move with the music of the times. I mean, I got to say, one of my favorite albums, I bought it, was it 85 or 86, was Power Windows.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's
I
probably
love
my
that
favorite
album.
album.
The pop sound of Big Money, just that was a great album. I'm like, holy crap, these guys aren't giving up. I love it.
Which is the very definition you would think of progressive. I mean, they progressed as a band. They
Exactly,
continued to
prog rock,
progress.
man.
Yeah. They didn't just recycle the same old thing again and again. The same elements that made
You
it.
could
good
still
were
tell
not-
it was them, though. You
Yeah,
could
the
hear
same
it. Not just with
elements
Geddy's
underpinned-
voice.
Yeah.
But they also kind of came back around again at the end, right?
Mm.
I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of, but at the end they came back to that heavier kind of,
Yes.
driving kind of.
Well, hard
Music.
rock in general and metal kind of came back around to where they were in the 70s and 80s towards the end
Agreed.
of the 2000s, because they found out what sound worked, and what they were doing wasn't working.
Yeah.
No one liked it. So,
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to ask you: is Iron Maiden still a thing?
yeah, they are. They
Yeah.
still release albums. I wish
Apparently.
they wouldn't.
Apparently.
Judas Priest, on the other hand, are absolutely-
Well, I mean, on the notes of Rockers with Walkers, I mean, these guys, I'm pretty sure Iron Maiden just recently toured. I know Ozzy is talking about another tour. Like all kinds of Rockers with Walkers are getting back into it.
Mm.
And I feel like we're going to see a further decline. And I just hope Rush stays out the business.
Well,
no,
I mean,
they're done. They've said without Neil, they're never coming
yeah,
back.
Yeah,
I
without
pray
Neil,
to
they
God
shouldn't.
they stick to that. I hope the almighty dollar doesn't win.
I mean, I do want to see those
Yeah.
guys continue to do things. Geddy and Alex wouldn't be called Rush, but they should still continue to play. They're such great musicians. So,
It's one of the
I
things I
agree.
love that I see in my feed is from a lot of Rush fans. It allows me to keep up with what's going on with Lifeson and Lee.
yeah. I have no idea what they've been doing lately. Unfortunately,
I think they
Everybody
guested
keeps-
in some
Everybody
gig.
keeps flirting with that. They keep saying, "Well, Rush get back together," and they're giving vague answers. But again, without Neil Pearce,
Yeah.
there is no
Not
Rush.
Rush. No.
yeah.
And I think part of that is just their management being like, look, don't rule it out.
Yeah, money.
Yeah.
Well, I think the songs, as musicians, they deserve to be able to play, and the songs deserve to be heard. It doesn't have to be called Rush or even pretend to be Rush, but it'd be nice to see some of those songs played.
Well, couldn't they get the drummer from Primus to do a little something for them?
Well, I think they've
He's
done.
so good.
I mean, they've done some. I know Geddy's got his book, of course, so he's touring that. But they have done a couple of jams. That was Tool, I think, was the band. Tool. They joined
Yep.
Tool on stage, and so they're
Eddie with Maynard,
yeah.
bro.
And
So-
Primus did a
I gotta
full-on
see that.
tribute tour to Rush when they first retired.
That's
where
right.
They did a Farewell to Kings. I saw that tour. It was outstanding.
Miss God.
It takes a lot to be able to play Rush stuff live. That's why you don't get many Rush tribute bands.
Well, yeah. not only does it take a lot of technology and effort, it takes a lot of skill.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny, it would take probably about 5 guys to do what 3 guys do on stage.
exactly.
Probably.
Yeah, because Getty's playing that bass, singing, and pumping the
Keyboard.
pedals.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know, it's
I'm playing
incredible.
keyboards.
Well, he's doing a lot of times. He'd be doing it with his foot.
Moog pedals.
The Moog
Yeah.
pedals. Yeah, I love that.
Nice.
I think Christian's moving us on.
Oh, well, it's just I don't want to lose half my crew by the 4th album. That's why I want to keep as much as you guys focus on all the albums.
Yeah, sadly, Brian and I leave in about 28 minutes,
Yeah.
but
So,
we're trying to cram in as much as we can before we leave.
yeah,
That's right.
So, moving on.
It's a quickie on Valentine's Day. All right, so the next one is Signals, and came out in September '82, and single platinum though, and not as big as Moving Pictures, but a great album regardless. And yeah, so there you
It
go.
didn't
This
have a
was a
hit
hell of a good
single.
album. It was.
It's the disco album. Yeah,
Subdivision.
I'm just kidding.
Signals,
Subdivision was the biggest hit on the album.
Mm.
but I mean, The Weapon. I think one of my favorite songs off the album is The Weapon. That's the thing that they fear is a weapon to be used against them. Just
Yeah.
fantastic lyrics, man. Neil
It was
Peart
my
really
favorite
had his
song on this
shit
album.
together, man.
Oh yeah, even if the musicality is not to your taste, the lyricism is always on point with these guys.
Definitely a good album, though. Definitely worth your time if you want to check out Rush. Signals. Part of me prefers Signals more than I prefer Moving Pictures.
I do, for sure.
I
Interesting.
think you could say that they've become a very sophisticated band, a mature band by this time.
And of
Yeah.
course, they could still turn out ahead. I mean, Subdivisions is leading the charge on this album,
Yeah.
and it's still a classic that you'll hear on radio forever
Yes.
for very good reasons.
Oh, dude, I still get goosebumps when I hear it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That synth riff in the background is just awesome.
Well, I liked, I got to be honest, like one of my favorite songs on there was New World Man, because it had that new wave feel to it. And I was a new wave guy. And I was like, wow, listen to that synth, dude. That's cool. Loved it. It's a
Pretty
great album.
melodic. Pretty melodic too, New World Band. I mean, it's very melodic.
Well, that riff that Alex is playing, that's fantastic. It's good stuff.
It is. It's a very sophisticated album, I think.
I agree.
Perhaps not quite as metal as some of the earlier stuff, but very sophisticated. Although
And
the
I
analog kid's pretty rocking,
Yeah, and I love that this was the period where, I think me and Brian have talked about it, that Getty was trying to do like a full-on synth album,
Yes.
and Alex kind of looked at him like, "Well, that's nice, Getty, but what am I supposed to do?"
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you guys realize when I was looking, my best friend and I have been just huge Rush fans forever, and we were looking through like Power Windows and Hold Your Fire and that stuff. A lot of that stuff was written by Alex,
Yes. Yeah.
and yet it was very synth centric.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have heard a lot, Alex. People saying Alex was complaining too many synths. Want to do some guitars, but he clearly went along with it and was part of it too. So I don't think they ever worked in isolation. Let's put it that way. The three of them. So
Yeah, I think all three of them have always contributed musically to the band, and it shows.
yeah, it's a lot of variety on this one. Lots of variety. There's even
Yeah.
a ballad.
I think that's one of the reasons I liked this album so much, was because of the variety that it actually offered. Because, like Michael says in the chat, like the Analog Kid was great.
Yeah,
Like, that was a fantastic song. And then the Digital Man and New World Man, both, different but awesome, like in their own ways. My favorite was The Weapon too, though. I mean,
Yeah, it's a solid track on the album. I think I'm have to give it to Subdivisions though, just for that haunting like synth riff that's going through the whole thing. That was brilliant.
Well,
yes.
I've always had a soft spot for Countdown.
Okay. I can see it.
No, I'm a nerd, so you know the song about the first launch of the Columbia would be kind of
I used,
special.
to, I used to have that poster on my wall as a kid, the picture, giant picture of it launching on STS-1.
Nice.
Cool.
Mm.
I think I'm just trying to remember what their fashion sense looked like at this time. I think they were a
They
little
were
bit
out
more.
of the
New,
70s.
yeah, they were a bit more new wave.
That's right.
Alex would be wearing tight
The T-
trousers and light blue jackets and stuff. There was no robes anymore.
No, that was the style of Miami Vice. Remember the early 80s? Miami Vice was starting
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So nice.
So yes, Rush's clothing is a big part of their history.
It's the fourth member.
Yeah. So and literally in the case of some of the things Alex wore, it was the fourth member. Yeah.
All right. Well, anybody want to add anything else to this one?
No, it's great stuff.
Big
I mean,
move.
just such a. There's never a bad track
Yeah, I know.
on any of these albums. That's the astounding thing. Even the best bands sometimes have a throwaway or a bum track where it's like, you know what, we're out of time. Let's dig up that thing we did for the B-side 6 years ago and stick it on, you know.
Yeah.
Like Rush never seemed to do that ever.
No.
Everything was meticulous and planned and was meant to be there.
And
I mean,
intelligent music also. They were always, from beginning to end, always giving intelligent music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to point out what John said so true, because every single person I knew in school that was a fan of Rush was a nerd.
Yeah.
yes. Actually,
Well-
skinny ties. I noticed some pictures here. I looked them up. Alex is wearing
Okay.
a lot of skinny ties at this time.
Something
I
you
may
wanna
or may
show,
not have been
Brian?
found in. I may or may not have been wearing skinny ties at that point too, but there's no proof, so we won't talk about
Nobody has photos that's
No one
alive.
has photos, yeah.
it. Right.
Thank
I'm
God.
not saying you murdered anyone. I'm just saying nobody alive has those photos.
Right.
Anyway,
And by the way, John is part of Pop Culture Minefield. I meant to mention that earlier.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody knows that. And
Big
I don't think Corey knew.
big part of my shows too. John's a big part.
Some would say he's the best part of Pop Culture Minefield.
but John is the most versatile guest you can have. Like, regardless where you put him, with Pope Metallicus, with Brian, with Pop Culture, he's always got something to add, especially on my shows. I love John.
He
John's
always
the
knows
best.
more that he always knows more about everything than the rest of us do.
And he's
I
not
don't
an
know about
asshole
that.
about it either.
Fuck you.
Oh, so- are you feeling aimed at there, Gary? I
Yeah,
wasn't
just a
talking about
little
you.
bit.
Yeah, I would more refer to myself as more of a fount of useless knowledge. So,
Well, that's what Pop Culture Minefield is. Is just you,
Yeah.
Keith, and me, and Martin, and Anima when she's there on Mondays and Saturdays now. I like
Yeah.
it. She's joining the show more.
Nice.
We're the guys that would never lose at Trivial Pursuit.
Yes. So this is okay. So I call this a trifecta. These three albums. So you got Signals, Grace Under Pressure, which is this one, and the next one, Power Window. Those were ideally always came out around my early high school, middle school, and they always had a great impact on me. Just a great album, just a great everything. So, but I call it the trifecta. So that's the second of three pivotal in my formative years. So here we go. Grace Under Pressure, a great album and great t-shirts too. I remember the Small Egg and the Vice. Anybody remember those? No, it must have been an 80s thing for me. But anyway,
Yeah.
wonderful.
This is by far my favorite Rush album.
Really?
Yes. And I can't tell you exactly why, but this album was everything I wanted from Moving Pictures and more. Like, I don't know. It just hit me way deeper than the other ones did.
Okay.
Like this album is legit. It's one of my favorites of all time now. So
It's a very good album. This
I haven't,
is the one that has a distant early warning.
Yeah. Just an early warning, Red Sector A.
Yeah.
It's all
I haven't
very,
listened to it in a while.
it's
a
so
lot of
good.
dystopian stuff and a lot of
Oh,
dark
yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
in
yeah.
here. Yeah, a lot of dark stuff.
That's probably why it speaks to me.
Yeah. Thematically, as they say. But yeah, again, at the peak of musicianship though. I mean, well, I guess if I was to pick a favorite track, it would be Between the Wheels, which is
Between the Wheels was amazing. Yeah.
pure de force. Yeah.
Red Lenses took me a few listens to actually understand the song enough that
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Right. But
Yeah, Kid Gloves too. That's another one of those songs that I know you have to listen to it a couple of times. I had to anyway to really before it grew on me. Because it kind of it's a I don't know, it's a different kind of song, but I ultimately ended up really enjoying it. But it's one of those songs that when I first started listening to that album, I skipped every once in a while. Not gonna lie.
It's another song about boxing. There's a theme there for Rush. Lots of songs about boxing. Well, maybe not. It's like a Cinderella Man. You could say it's a boxing song too.
Yeah, it was a boxing movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's great album. Very sophisticated. I get not so much in the radio play now. By now, of course, they weren't really. The singles weren't there necessarily.
Right.
But sophisticated album. The lyrics are just incredible. You know, thematically, Neil's writing stuff about artificial intelligence and nuclear war.
Right.
And, yeah, it's
Yeah, they certainly
Fear.
didn't shy away from the heavy stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
They were not afraid of going there,
yeah.
which is also something I'll credit Black Sabbath with. These guys may have picked it up from, because you can tell from their early stuff they were listening to some Black Sabbath.
I think yesterday or today was also the anniversary of the first Black Sabbath album's release. I might be wrong.
You might be right about that. I know it was around this time.
Yeah, which is God knows how many. That's 60 years.
1970 to 2024, so 54 years.
54 years. Jesus Christ.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Jesus Christ.
It's best just not to think about
It
it.
seems pretty fresh to me as well.
Well, part of that is the sound of some of these older records. Rush has it too, where you can listen to, A Farewell to Kings or 2112, and it doesn't sound old.
No.
Mm,
It sounds like it could have come out last year.
It's like Brian. It doesn't sound old at all. It's just wonderful to listen to.
that's right. And I didn't come out last year though, so that's it.
No, well, okay, not yet.
Although, unlike Rush, Brian's a bit fatty.
Aye.
He suffers the flatulence.
I don't have a soundboard clip for that, so
You have a soundboard of me fucking snoring, though, you dick.
I do. I was trying to share it earlier, but Christian wouldn't play it, so it's
No,
Yeah,
I didn't
Corey-
see it. I
Corey.
didn't see it. Give
He
it to me
recorded
now.
me while I was fucking waiting for this bastard for a meeting so we could talk. I fell asleep and he fucking recorded me.
Beautiful.
You're such a dick. Love you, man.
Oh, hey, I fell asleep live once or twice.
No, that was in a private meeting. And I'm sitting there for like an hour and a half, and finally I just gonked off. Because I'm an old man and I'm in a chair.
I didn't have
It's
the
gonna
heart
happen,
to wake. I didn't have the heart to wake you up. You looked so cute and warm. And,
dick.
Well, yeah, and he was cute too, right? I noticed very little drool. I was impressed with that.
Especially for a drummer.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially for a drummer.
the drummer drools evenly on both sides of the stage.
So you know you're
By the way, Courtney had the best shit on me moment. on one of Brian's streams when she says, "Do you know how to shut a drummer up? Put sheet music in front of him."
Yeah,
That's
that's Metallica's joke.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
know what the last thing a drummer says in a band? Hey guys, let's do one of my songs now.
Right.
Yeah, Ringo. Well, I'm going to put that up on the refrigerator.
Apart from Neil, of course.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, great album. Love it.
Yeah,
I'm never going to complain, Gary, about you falling asleep because I've actually done the same.
You have
thing.
fallen asleep with me so many times, and during shows, I'll go like this. Everyone, Jones is asleep. Don't wake him. And then we'll start whispering through the show. And that's when we were talking about like the recent letter from Bob Iger. Yeah, look, man, if your friends aren't dicks to you, they're not friends.
Oh, I know.
exactly. Exactly. You know, you can usually measure the level of friendship you have by the insults that's being yielded at each other. The bigger
Amen.
the insults, the better the buddy.
Exactly. Now, I got to tell you, this was my last Rush album.
Okay.
I didn't buy any more after this, and I kind of moved on to different music. But this album, oh my God, I freaking loved this album.
This has to
Now,
be-
I kind of hated that Big Money became such a big hit. It was on MTV all the time. But at the same time, what a great album. It's like this long story album. And that's the other thing I like about prog rock bands when they do that. Albums that have a theme from beginning to end. And
And that's
this
something
felt
that
like,
power metal would capture on later in the decade with
Yes.
like bands like Gamma Ray and later on Sabaton. And like they may not tell a coherent story, but they all share a theme, and that's all.
and I just like that with any, and it doesn't matter what style it is. Anytime I catch a musician, artist, or band doing that, I don't know why, that just fucking tickles something in me that makes me want to just listen to the whole album.
It's the thing that got me into King Diamond. Somebody described it to me as like, "Oh yeah, you got to listen to this guy. It's basically a heavy metal horror story." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
That just sounds awesome all over.
Yeah, I was just like, "Where do I sign? Get me there right now."
Because in my opinion, the best horror film should feel like a metal song.
Oh yeah, sci-fi too.
Absolutely. I also got to tell you, this is my second favorite Rush cover.
Okay.
First
Yeah,
one
that
being
is a
Moving
wild
Pictures.
cover.
That
Yeah.
album cover from Moving Pictures was amazing. But this painting right here just really got me as an artist. I was just looking at this going, oh, what great lighting and visual motifs. I just fucking love this album cover.
Mm. Dude, absolutely my favorite song by Rush is Middletown Dreams. I mean, I can listen to it at any time.
Mm.
And when I'm in my truck driving at night, that song kicks my ass. I love that song.
I guess before you and I go, Brian, we should state what our favorite songs are.
Yeah.
on
Our top
Sure.
number one favorite songs by Rush.
Geez, that's a tough one. I always struggle with things like that. Like what the favorite one of all time is. On this,
It's like saying which one is your favorite child.
I know.
It really feels that way, but there's moments like if you tell me this is the only song by them you'll ever get to hear, I know what one I'll go for.
on this album. It's tricky on all of them. I probably pick Territories as my
Oh yeah.
one I play more than
Oh
others.
yeah,
I think. But in general, oh Jesus, that is tough. I'd probably have to say, can I pick the entire side one of Hemispheres?
Yeah.
that 18-minute song. Yeah,
It's
sure.
one song, yeah. So Cygnus X1, yeah. I mean,
Well, technically, it's two
Probably.
songs because the first part's on Farewell to Kings.
yeah, it's book two,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But again, I mean, I do struggle with what is the absolute best of anything. What's your absolute favorite?
Oh, it's not
movie? I mean,
saying best, it's your favorite.
Yeah, but
I mean,
even that's
look, I've
tough.
got 3 kids and I do have a favorite, and she knows who she is.
Well, I'd say Cygnus X1 book 2 then.
Cygnus X1. Okay. What about you, Gary?
Oh, I kind of mentioned it a minute ago. Limelight is absolutely one of my favorite songs they ever wrote.
Okay.
And I love that guitar intro to that thing.
Yes.
You know, because so often with a good song like that, it's the drums that starts it. But no, the guitar started that one.
Got it. Got it. You guys have to leave. We still got you for a little while.
I
Right?
got 5 minutes.
You got 8 more minutes.
Okay, keep
8
going.
more minutes. Okay. So I guess
I just thought Brian would take longer.
That's what
she said.
I'd be practicing. I got it down to 20 seconds. Why waste time?
get to the point, literally.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Yeah,
have to jerk off anymore. He just thinks about it.
Yeah, I think the covers for most of these were done by Hugh Syme, their old buddy, including this one. And they're like, it's a. I love somebody said they love this cover. The front cover is a painting taken from a reference photograph, I think, which is nice. You know,
Now,
There
have
we
you
go.
guys ever heard them play Marathon live?
I've never heard them play it live. Well,
I
not
mean, I wasn't-
not in person.
Okay, yeah, I was not in person, but I've seen them play that live. It's just,
Yeah.
first of all, that song is just amazing,
Mm.
and the crafting of the lyrics of that song is just, it's sick. But when you listen to the bass and you listen to the drums, the way that goes together, I can't believe that they can do that live, but they absolutely nail it.
It's incredible,
Nail it.
isn't it? Yeah. There's nothing like
Yeah.
seeing Rush live. It's what some of the best experiences I've ever had in my life.
Oh, I envy you.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, just you think, is that 3 guys up there? This is incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, John saw them live too. What was it in the fair?
No. It was up in Kansas City, but I can't remember. Was it Extreme or Mr. Big? One of them was opening for them, and I refused to go in until their set was about done because I hated them. And
I got to see
I
him
don't
live too, John.
so I stayed out in the car listening to Rush while waiting to go see Rush.
I got to go see him live too back in '86, I think it was '86 or '87.
That would have been a great time. Damn.
Oh yeah, it was right after Power Windows, and my roommate Charlie, who's still a close friend of mine, Anima knows. We went to he and I would go to a lot of shows live. Van Halen, Billy Joel, and Rush were 3 of the main ones we went to see. And I'm sorry, what is that band? I just forgot the name. Bachman Turner Overdrive.
BTO.
Yeah. And technically, I shouldn't say that we went to see them. They opened for Van Halen.
Okay,
And so it's like
nice.
2 shows for one. It was a great live show.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing with him was the hydraulic drum kit. The way he would
yeah.
rotate around, I'm like, that is like a drummer's masturbation dream.
Yeah.
Having a hydraulic drum kit.
Nice.
And he played every drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just something else. Watching somebody that was that good and oh, man, I'd never seen a precision drummer like him. He played every note exactly the same every single time.
That's right. I got that off of you, Gary. He's like a jazz drummer, but a specific jazz drummer.
Yeah, because the jazz drumming I did was based off of improvisation and organic growth. So it was more organic drumming that I did. Not him, man. He was like Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. Actually, yes.
Yeah, I know my drummers. Fuck you.
No, I agree. I'm a drummer too. Okay. That's why I'm being quiet here because I don't want to be ragged on.
You'll let me do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm being signaled. I gotta go.
All right. Well, 70s, you want to pimp something?
No, it's okay. I don't need to pimp any stuff right now. I just want to say this album, you can't go anywhere in Canada without hearing Time Stand Still on the radio.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Just-
And
There's a lot here too.
yeah,
Hey, 70s, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you, sir.
yeah, you too, mate. We'll be in touch. We'll get in touch.
Without
And-
See you later, buddy.
Yeah, see you guys. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Take
See you,
care.
Brian.
Cheers. Bye.
All right.
Now I got to get going too.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's good meeting you,
the
too,
one thing.
Brian.
Oh, that's Brian. I'm Gary.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gary. Jeez. Hey, I'm new here.
And
I'm going to
don't call
change
him
my name to
Jerry.
Brian
Don't
now.
call him Jerry. He gets pissed off at that too.
I really don't. It just annoys me when I tell somebody my name and then they say it wrong. And I'm like, I just fucking said my name for you. So you get, well, I saw it spelled out. It looks like Jerry. I'm like, fuck you. I said my fucking name for you.
Listen,
And then the third time you realize we're doing it on purpose just to give you an aneurysm.
American.
Oh,
My
dude. Yeah.
attention span is very, very narrow.
And that's why I kind of like it. Clobbery started, Clobby started calling me Jagary, and I'm like, I fucking love that. That's why I call him. It's our nicknames for each other. He's Clobbery. Like it sounds like clobbering and slobbery at the same time. Clobbery. And but yeah, I put the link in there if you want to share it with everybody. I've got my graphic novel. I got to work on it.
Yeah.
I got to get back to work on it tonight. Vindicated Inc. It is a similarly important graphic novel about disabled veteran taking on criminal underworld. It talks about disabilities with the military. It deals with PTSD, the med board process, how messed up the military is and how it treats its veterans. And if you want to recover as a veteran, don't turn to the Department of Defense to do it because they're not going to help you. Their job is to teach you how to kill people,
And
teach you how
that's
to
it.
do your MOS and nothing else. Don't ever trust them for anything else or expect anything else from them.
No,
And that's really what this graphic novel talks about. And occasionally I say shitty, mean, funny things that are basically my sense of humor coming out through violence. Because it is a pretty violent graphic novel.
Hey,
There's Courtney.
Courtney's here.
She's, of course, joins when Brian and I are leaving.
Are you
You
both
just missed
leaving?
Brian.
Yeah, Brian just left and I'm getting ready to go.
How am I
So-
going to make drummer jokes?
Yeah, I know.
Really
Well, make
Christian
fun
drummer,
of
so if
Christian
you start-
Delorme because
start
he's
name.
secretly a drummer too. So you can mock him.
No, I would never make fun of Christian.
Thank you,
Never.
Courtney.
Sorry, I need to be higher.
Fuck you, Courtney. Jesus Christ.
She likes me
just
more.
I love Courtney. She knows that. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Get back to doing some artwork.
Yes.
Corey, good meeting you. Republic,
meeting you
awesome meeting you. John, I already fucking know you, so fuck off.
Yeah.
Courtney, I love you. Pope Metallicus, we're friends already. And Christian, I'll come back when you're drunk.
Yeah. Sounds good.
When you get 3 sheets to 6 sheets, either one doesn't matter.
I
to
love
me.
you too,
I'll
Gary.
fucking be- All right, Courtney. Bye, guys. Good meeting you guys.
Thanks for
Later,
coming.
Gary.
Right, man.
So, Courtney, I want you to. I got a new friend. I want you to meet. He's a fellow panelist. Courtney, I want you to meet Mr. Republic Sentinel. Great guy. He's actually the
Hi, Courtney.
biggest. And Courtney's an ex bass player, a punk bass player, and Republic is.
I play every instrument, Christian.
Oh, okay, sorry. I
I
was
play them all,
talking to
except
bass.
for drums. I'm not
Oh,
a drummer.
Well, you gotta be good to play drums, Courtney.
Ha ha.
Sorry, just
So now that I had to make it full screen because I'm blind. Who am I introducing myself to? I think everyone. No, there's
Okay,
Doswell.
well,
I know Corey.
Pope Metallicus, Corey.
Yeah, I know Pope. And they said Republic Sentinel. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi.
I can't see your face to tell if I've seen you before or not. I feel like
I
I know your
don't
name.
Do
so.
YouTube not much anymore because
Oh,
YouTube
okay.
sucks. Sorry, I'm sure the overlords just heard that and said, "Get him off of here, go." They've given me
I don't
2
do it that
strikes
much
in a
anymore
year, and I
either,
just
so.
want to tell them all to kiss my ass. Can't stand medical misinformation, whatever.
That's why.
And you know-
That's why.
You
Rumble
have to
cleared.
claim allegedly after everything, allegedly, or you have to say this is not. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
This is the
it's not
opinion of
medical
the panel.
information.
Yeah.
Or it was just an article, maybe shedding truth, maybe.
I
That-
personally find that
I
when
don't
you
wanna
make
get
a
you in trouble, so I'll
controversial
shut my mouth.
when you make a controversial statement on YouTube, if you follow it up with in Minecraft, they ignore it.
That's another one too in Minecraft. Corey, you have beautiful hair. It is so long. It looks so much better than my raggedy hair. I didn't get a chance to take a shower. I was like, I'm gonna hop on and give them a few minutes before.
Well, thank you.
I have to
Because
go out,
this
so.
is like the third one you missed there that I invited you to. Yeah,
I know,
because
I've had a lot of
got
stuff
a lot
going
of
on.
shit in your life. I get it. I'm just what I'm
It's not
trying
fun stuff, but it has to happen.
to,
so-
what I'm trying to say is I
Unfortunately.
appreciate you dropping by, Courtney. It means a lot to
Of
me.
course. Of course.
So-
And who's so everyone on here is a musician, right?
Ah,
They're all musicians.
You can't call me a musician. I'm a lyricist and a singer. I don't. Yeah, you can't call me a musician.
The only
No,
thing-
I
the
can
only thing
actually. I
the only
can
thing I-
because I had to take a class at Berklee College of Music, which was vocal class for instrumentalists, and we were awful. I mean, for people that could sing, it's like,
Vocal class for
Highly
instrumental.
appreciated.
Is that like special ed for musicians?
oh yes, yes, it was awful. It was so, and we all had to do like a performance at the end, and I chose like the song at the end of Grease. It was terrible.
No.
It was so bad.
well,
I didn't
so-
transpose it to the right key. It was really bad.
Well,
But-
the only thing I play is the radio. So
there we go.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But Sentinel, you're kind of a musician, right? Is there something you don't play?
I'm trying to learn how to play violin now.
Oh
and
wow!
just by like watching YouTube videos, I bought a cheap violin, like a $150 violin, and it's not going well. it's really
Let me give you advice about that actually, because there were two classes at Berklee that I did horribly at. One was percussion and the other was violin. I could pluck and do the fingerings. Get your bowing down first. Do
Yeah.
everything you can to bow, because I still can't bow to this day.
yeah, it's
So
difficult.
violin's out the window.
And then waxing it, and nah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's a lot.
appreciate strings so much, but yeah, playing strings, it's like one of those things where it's like I want to do this, but I can't. So I don't know. I'll keep trying though.
Oh, I sounded like a dying cow. It was like every time I would try and bow.
All right.
You
So
got me out of Rush Street.
Yes.
now that we got Courtney, what's your experience with Rush, the band?
My experience was I absolutely could not stand Rush for the longest
Oh,
time.
really? Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
liked them.
No, I don't hate them anymore. I don't dislike them, but I couldn't stand them. I just you have to understand. I'm sorry, my dog's whining. That's why I'd read something in the private
That's
chat. I hit enter prematurely.
Pets
but,
are welcome in this
so-
stream.
When I was in college, it was a big Dream Theater went to Berklee College of Music. So it was like a big prog thing. And I just was anti all these kind of guys that were chicks can't play and I'm there on a scholarship. It's like, well, I can play, obviously, so shut up. So I just kind of refused to get into them. And I hadn't really listened to them in high school. My dad wasn't a big Rush person. He was like all Grateful Dead and all the other like older bands, but he wasn't big into Rush. So I was
Right.
introduced to it in college. What got me to listen to them was the drummer.
Okay.
That's
Neil
honestly the only reason that I like started to like
Amazing.
give them a chance, because I had so much respect.
Stewart. Right.
But that band, that
the
song
punk
Tom
wasn't a fan
Sawyer,
of
I want
prog
to pull my
music.
hair out when I hear it.
Oh,
The
wow.
punk wasn't a
Sorry,
fan
say that again?
of prog music. The punk wasn't a fan of prog music. Wow, that's a shock.
Okay. Surprise, surprise. All music, but not really prog. And if it has the flute in it and it's rock and roll, definitely not.
So,
And I'm a woodwind player as well, so no.
No Jethro
No
Tull
Jethro
for
Tull.
you.
No. And Dream Theater, who went to my school, I'm not a huge Dream Theater fan.
They have
Sorry.
one or two that are pretty good, and other than that, I can kind of take or leave them.
Yeah, me too.
They're one of those bands. I'm like, I don't hate them, I don't love them. They're just kind of there.
Rush, early Rush has definitely grown on me though. But
Yeah.
you guys were all, yeah. So,
Yeah,
but that
we
Tom
really
Sawyer
did that.
song, I want to pull my hair out when I hear
Yeah,
it.
but they overplayed the hell out of that song, man.
Yeah.
It's like I still and I do enjoy Tom Sawyer.
Sorry.
I can still like when I hear it. Sometimes I think I said in the beginning of the stream that was that song. It was like they played it so much. I didn't like it when it came out. So, but as time went on, I fell more in love with it.
I mean, to me, it's like, their "You Shook Me All Night Long" moment where, like, it's a great
Thank
song, technically, and I like it. But if I hear it played on the radio one more time, I will open fire.
Yes.
Hello.
Yep. I have that experience with a lot of songs.
Yeah,
Anything from the Beatles.
yeah.
Can't do it anymore.
Me and
Yep.
Led Zeppelin. There's like Stairway.
Oh, I'm with you on Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I'm with you on
Living, Loving,
Zeppelin.
Made, and fuck.
Or at least do some of the more interesting stuff like Battle of Evermore or, Achilles' Last Stand, stuff like that, but they never do. It's always the same 4 songs.
Yeah. So now you got to basically stream and go pick your own music into, let's say, like, for example, I'm with Spotify.
Oh yeah.
Led Zeppelin's in my playlist, but not the overplayed stuff that's on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down by the seaside.
My favorite Zeppelin tune is on their most famous album, but it's not their most famous song. It's When the Levee Breaks.
Oh, yeah. Great blues tune.
John Bonham's drum intro is unparalleled.
Unparalleled. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And
so
the Beatles, I can understand that Beatles comment. Who said that?
Corey.
Yeah.
Corey, yeah. I got like that for a little bit, but I love Lennon and I love like Lennon solo stuff. That keeps me kind of like tied into like having love for them.
Always more of a Harrison fan myself.
Ah,
I love George Harrison.
we'll fight over it later. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
I just never was a big Beatles fan. It's just
Oh,
Yeah, right, but
well, check this out. Check what I just added.
Gear Jammer.
Made me thought of you. Yeah, Gear Jammer is a great song, but that's George Thorogood though.
yeah.
You know, that never gets old. Maybe it's because I'm a truck driver, but that song never gets old. Gear Jammer, the slide guitar, the great drums, the power bass. Oh, it's just awesome. Sorry, guys, I cut you off. I apologize. I'm one of those asshole hosts.
Never
Man,
apologize
it's
for
refreshing.
standing George Thorogood.
It's refreshing to see a host that's willing to shut their panel up.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, I do it. I always do it. But my panel used to get out of order. I can't talk now. All of a sudden, good. Fix me.
It's all good. All right, so let's go back to the show. How's that sound? And
Sound
Courtney, you're more than welcome to hang on. Add your comments here and there. And thank you for doing this for me, especially that I know you don't like the band. So good on you, Courtney.
I don't dislike them. I don't. They have grown on me. I'm just saying, in the beginning, I really didn't like
In
them.
the beginning, got it. So they
So
grew
they like
on
the
you. Okay.
stuff.
All right.
Just
So this band came out in 87 at the tender age of 16 that I was, and it went platinum. So it's not part of my trifecta. By then I was graduated high school and I was getting out of Rush, but hold your fire. Mr. Sentinel, you
Yes.
being the big Rush fan left on the block, what are
Yes,
your
sir.
thoughts on this album?
Brilliant. You saw I let off my newscast the other day with the Mission, right? That's the other thing about being on Rumble and not YouTube is you can play all kinds of music and you don't get banned or copyright struck. But all of it, it was a lot more synth centric, not as much into the guitar, but man, fantastic album. And that Tyshawn, another one of those. Is that how you say that? I'm not really sure if that's how you say that, but
You're asking a Frenchman how to speak English. Okay, sorry.
that had that like Asian feel to it. That was so good. And he was talking about, China, being in China, tells this beautiful story about the landscape and everything else. Fantastic. Again, it was kind of it just showed how these guys,
We're cultured.
yeah. And they were very good at they were equally descriptive with their lyrics and the music, in my humble opinion.
The music fit the lyrics.
Yeah. Who was the chick that sang on Time Stand Still? Was
Amy Mann.
Is
That
that
was Amy Mann.
Getty's wife? No?
No, I don't
John?
think she is. I don't
No,
think
no.
she was. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Well, she was in Till Tuesday.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
I don't
there's-
think she was. I don't think she was married to Getty. No.
Okay. It's one of those rumor things.
Getty married his teenage sweetheart, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had no idea.
So, and that's the back of the album. Again, by this time, I was getting out of Rush. So, and I think you, Sentinel, were getting in. Pope, how are you with these groups, these albums?
This is the era I tend to ignore more than the others because I'm more of a hard rock and heavy metal guy. So like this,
Okay.
I kind of tend to pull away from a little bit. But
Right.
like you say, there's still really good stuff on here. And if I'm in the mood for something more new wave or synth, I'll be damned if these aren't some of the records I reach for.
Right.
I prefer this stuff. That's funny, Pope.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that is, we're like,
And this album's weird. That's why I like it.
This is
It's
out
weird.
there. And as I've grown musically, and like especially as a musician, listening to the more obscure and kind of oddball stuff has become a lot more interesting to me because when we'll actually get to my first album that I ever bought from Rush later in this stream, that I bought in high school. But this era is one of those ones that was kind of in a no man's land for me for a lot of years, and I've just started getting into it more and more as I go along here.
Yeah, I
Prime
really like
Mover.
Lock and Key off this album because it's really dark and atmospheric compared to Time Stands Still.
What- What number is that? I don't know any of the titles.
That would be number 6.
It's
Oh, I like that one. And
yeah.
I like the one before. Is the one before the one that's like no in the beginning? It's like kind of like
Prime
it
Mover.
reminds me of like a little bit of like turning Japanese, but it's not. It's just with the
That would be
keyboard. I got
Taishan,
that
I
weird
think.
part.
Yeah, that would be time.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one I like.
Or
Yeah.
Passage to Bangkok off of 2112.
Yeah.
Another excellent track.
Yeah, that was a crazy song.
It was a great track, though. It's got that tune that just gets in your head and you'll be there forever.
Which one?
Passage to Bangkok.
Yes, very good song.
All right. So moving on to their 13th album, Presto. Any comments on this, Sentinel? Let's go to you. You're my ace in the hole, my friend.
Sentinel, define the musical term presto in regards. I'm
Oh.
just kidding.
I'm out.
Like Largo versus Presto. I was
Corey,
just
you gotta
trying to-
go.
I got a couple more minutes, but
Okay.
yeah, I got about 15 more minutes.
Did
Okay,
you listen
well,
to this album, Corey?
This is one of the ones that I didn't get to. Yeah.
They started kind of falling out of the whole synth thing with this one, right? There was, there's still your synth stuff, but like Show Don't Tell in the Past, I thought the Past was great because I think it was talking about suicide, wasn't it?
That was one of their early ones. I'm thinking.
The past was about suicide.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
about
so
being
it was,
bullied.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it's definitely. I love that song. It was very very well thought out. It's Presto's even a good song too. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of Presto, but it was a decent album.
It's an interesting art choice for the cover too, because Rush has always had these very brightly colored, very vibrant album covers, and that's always what made them stand out.
Yeah,
And so they intentionally go with a black and white tone on this one. That seems interesting.
But the actual imagery is just weird, and it's awesome.
That's typical.
Like the bunny rabbit, like that's just
what you're
so
staring
cool.
at is just bonkers.
I love it.
Well, to
I
be fair,
hate to
Rush
back
did pull a
out,
lot of
but-
rabbits out of their hat.
True.
Yeah, it's true. But I probably got to leave in a few minutes because I've got to jump over on Joe's show too. So
Okay.
I'll,
No problem.
I'm going to do it while he goes, just to alleviate that, because I have dinner at 6:30 and it's 5:46.
All right. So I will see you guys next time. Sorry I was a little late, but it took me a little while to get out of work. So I will
all
hopefully
good, John.
join you next time. And,
it was a pleasure to meet you, sir.
It's nice to meet you guys too. And you guys have a good evening.
You too.
Bye, John. Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye.
Peace.
And Courtney, You gotta step out too. You got a dinner date.
Bye, guys. Just kidding.
Always
Um,
appreciate it.
Well, thanks for stepping in. I appreciate that.
yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to come and show face because I feel bad that I haven't been able to say hi yet. And
Yeah, see,
well, I did. I've been on one of your streams, but the past couple times you've asked. So
the inaugural one. You know what, Courtney? You don't have to come in and sit for 2 hours. You can just drop in, be nice to everybody for like 10 minutes, say hi, be yourself, and then leave. That's worth more than 2 hours for me. That's as good as 2 hours. So,
oh, thank you. You're so
yes,
cool.
yes.
What's that from the end of? You're so cool. You're so cool. You're so cool. Anyone? It's a movie.
No,
True romance. I won't make you wait.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that.
It's the last three. That's the last ones of True Romance. All right. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And I can't believe I'm going out to dinner, so this is weird. Wish me luck.
Have fun. Good luck.
Have fun.
I'm single, so this is weird. Okay. I might not
Enjoy
be after
yourself.
this.
That's right.
All right. Love you guys. Love you guys
Giggity.
for the chat. Bye, everyone. Later.
Bye-bye.
Later.
All right. Hey, everybody's dropping off at the same time. Well, thanks for sticking around, guys. And Corey's got to drop off soon, so
I do.
it'll be a 3-man show, just like Rush.
Just like the band.
Right.
But Corey, you're not familiar with this album. Okay, fair
No,
enough.
this is one of the ones that I didn't get a chance to listen to. But I will continue listening to them, and it's mostly your guys' fault. So I blame you.
Oh, well, thank you. You're welcome. That's a good thing to be blamed for.
Like, honestly, I was on this album when I hit the wall and just couldn't anymore.
Yeah, you reach that point where you're just like, I cannot listen to another one from this band. I'm loving it, but I just can't.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I needed such a radical change for my brain to recenter that I went and I started listening to Mercy Me, who's a Christian rock band, not even rock, Christian country band. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to these guys for like a little bit.
See,
And then I
jumped the
found
exact
myself-
opposite way after I did our Rush episode on
Yeah.
my show, where I just went down a rabbit hole with black metal for like 3 weeks.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I listened to Mercy Me 3 songs, and then I wound up at Avenged Sevenfold. So
There we go. Things evened out in the end. We've gone too far. We have to come back.
There's no turning back.
What?
I'm one of those people who can listen to Rush until my ears bleed. But
I have such an eclectic requirement for my musical listening. It's
I will absolutely. I'll tell you that I hate saying this, but it's true. I am an absolute snob when it comes to my music.
Okay.
Like, people will try and introduce me to shit, and it's like, oh, I'm glad that you like it, but in my mind, it sucks. And I never want to insult anybody, but my music, when I get into what I love it, and it's very hard for other things to infiltrate that. And it does. I'm not trying to say that it's all I listen to is Rush or metal or anything like that. It's just that I'm very, very particular.
as you should be, honestly.
But
It's not a bad
that's
thing, you don't
everybody.
think?
Unless you're a pop and somebody
I
who
only
listens
listen
to
to the
pop.
top 40 stations. Oh, so you have no soul. I understand.
Yeah. So what did you have an opinion on Presto?
Are you talking to me? That's one of those albums I was just stepping out. And what's the big song on this one? What was the big?
I think it was what's it?
I can't see it. It's too small.
Was it Show Don't Tell, or I can't remember what was big off of this album. If
Anagram,
anything ever.
Red Tide, Hand Over Fist, Available Light, Presto, Cars, War Paint. See, by then, with Rush with me is I was into the hits. So whatever would play on the radio while I was delivering through town, driving my truck, is the kind of Rush music I would listen to.
Yeah, and this came out in the early 90s, so like that just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Like you would never hear somebody like this on there. They were all about grunge at that point.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains,
Yeah.
all of
Nine
And
it.
if you went to the
Inch
classic rock stuff, they were still playing the 60s and 70s stuff. So like it existed in this weird hole between radio stations.
It did.
Yeah.
And
So,
so did the same with the next album too. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I found that when I went into my like Rush. I didn't get into Rush. Look, I'm 50. I got into Rush in like 93 or 94.
okay.
So I wasn't into it Rush when I was a kid. And once I found them, then I had to go out and buy every album.
Okay. Yeah, there's a few people that are like that. I think Hope, you were the same way, right? With I think it's your favorite Judas Priest, right? Hope,
Yeah,
you were
I
like
actually didn't know that much about them until like 7 or 8 years ago, and I I stumbled upon Electric Eye and then just went down the rabbit hole. And within a week, I think I owned like half of their discography, and now I own all of it, even Rockarola, even though I'm not a fan.
that? Oh, that's fine.
I was that way with System of a Down.
So you just like you hear one song and
Yep.
immediately
I literally bought
hyper-focus.
everything that they put out, and then they broke up, and I thanked God that they broke up, and then they came back, and I cursed the ground that they walk on.
Did they come back?
Yeah.
I didn't know they came. Oh, was it bad?
It was real bad.
Oh,
They're yeah.
that's a shame.
Like,
because,
worse
they
than
were
modern
an
Motley
interesting
Crue band.
It was
Modern
terrible.
Motley Crue, okay.
It was absolutely terrible.
Nice.
Oh, well, then I won't bother go looking for it.
No, that might make you even more of a snob.
That's one of the things I love about bands like Saxon and Priest is they never really went away. They've just been doing it the whole time.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Didn't
kinda
Judas
like Rush, they
Priest
were
just
here
do
through the
their
whole thing.
50th tour, their 50th anniversary tour or whatever?
Yep. Well, technically that would have been in 2020. And
Oh,
unfortunately,
right.
yeah, I actually have the chance to see that lineup because I was going to see Sabaton opening for them in Connecticut, and now they're coming
Ooh.
through on this next tour opening for Priest. So it'll be like their 54th anniversary tour,
Hell yeah.
That's another interesting.
and they've
band.
got a new album coming out in a month.
And it's still kick ass. It's still better than most of the shit you listen to on radio nowadays.
Goddamn
Yeah.
right it is. The
These
singles
guys
I've
in their
heard off
70s.
the singles I've heard off that record so far are absolutely outstanding.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that goes. And just like Rush, these guys will continue to be consistently excellent. Right. to the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like, we'll listen to Black Sabbath in 100 years. You know what I mean?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's how good the band is.
People will still be playing War Pigs until the sun goes cold.
Yeah. And you know what? Judas Priest, too. They'll
Oh,
be doing
absolutely.
that Rush in 100 years because that's how good the band is.
Hell
Think
yeah.
about having that legacy. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I mean, when you think about it, people are going to be talking about, bands like Black Sabbath, Dio, Motorhead, Rush, the same way they talked about people like Mozart, Beethoven, things like that. Like that's going to be the music that survives through the
Or-
generations.
Or as for us other musicians that like jazz, the big bands from the 20s and 30s. you know?
Absolutely.
For
So
sure.
those guys are still being played nowadays, but in certain circles, but they're still renowned. So
It's quality music. It's
I know. Great
just-
stuff.
It's wonderful.
But Corey, you got that look on your face like you're
Yeah, I
about to
gotta
drop
get going.
out. But thanks for stepping in, my friend. I really
Thank you for having me
appreciate
again.
it. You know what? Anytime, I'll send you the link. I'll send you messages what we're doing. If you're up for it, you're always welcome at my table.
Cool. Thank you.
Dude, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, Corey.
It was a pleasure to meet you as well, Republic Sentinel.
good
So
hanging
I
out
will
with
pitch my stuff real quick.
Yeah, please
Um,
do.
If you guys like a variety of music styles, come check out my video section. I do everything from dubstep, rap. I do some R&B shit. Recently started getting into the metal scene. That being said, check out, if you like metal, check out Total Control. It is a metal dub fusion with a rap section in it because I am ADHD no matter what I do. That being said, I will be releasing a sequel to said song or another portion related there too very
Yeah.
soon. I don't even have a name for it yet, but it's wormed its way into my brain, so I don't have a choice but to finish it. That being said, if you like weird random shit, check out my live section, because my live shows are shotgun most of the time. It's never normal, and I cover the weirdest shit you could ever hear about, like the Ritz-Carlton having tainted water bottles with semen, and this last show I covered man-made horrors, like being able to keep a brain alive outside of the body almost indefinitely. You know,
Wild.
just random stuff. And then of course I do mental health Mondays, because I am a mental health professional by training. So I like to cover certain things like addiction and depression and all the fun stuff everybody loves, you know.
I wouldn't know
But,
anything about that.
Yeah. Anyway, I will catch you guys tomorrow on my channel. I won't be doing a Dick's News International per se, but if anyone would like to join the show, especially here on the channel, make sure you hit that Gilded link I dropped in the private chat. I will drop it again, because the way my shows work is
There you
unless you and I are doing a one-on-one, it is an open invitation to anyone who is a member of my Gilded. You can join any show that I post the link for, and you are more than welcome to come on. I only have one rule, and that's don't be a dick.
go. Right.
And by my standards, that's pretty hard to do. So, yes, but stay sexy, don't get murdered. And as always, have a wonderful time.
You too, my friend. Thank you for
Peace,
coming.
brother.
All right.
And then there were 3.
And then there were 3. Exactly. And this is one of the albums that I got back into it. Roll the Bones. I thought this was good. They got a lot of airplay up here in Canada on the classic rock.
This
album.
was the first one I remember really hearing them talked about for.
Right.
Because this was in the early 90s, so I would have been a very young kid, but I remember that this kind of being around.
What was the songs that really were like big off of this album? Because I was
Roll the Bone. That was
Yeah.
the title album. Here, let me get to the back here. So there was Roll the Bone. and
Bravado.
that's-
Great song. Great song.
Yeah, Roll the Bone. That was their biggest one. Heresy, Neurotica, You Bet Your Life. That's about the only one that I remember would be Roll the Bone.
Yeah, this one was one of those ones that it's not a bad record objectively, but it just kind of existed.
Mm.
And nobody, even the fans, heard of it for a long,
Right.
long time. It just kind of languished there.
A Ghost of a Chance, I thought was a interesting. I thought the whole album was interesting. That I'm just gonna, you guys tell me what you think. That was Alex that was rapping on Roll the Bones, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Did you guys like that?
I like
Yeah.
when bands try something new,
Yeah.
and when it doesn't work, they immediately reverse course. Looking at you, Metallica.
Yeah.
Because you immediately see that on the next album where it sounds nothing like this. You're like, okay, that was horrible. We're just going to agree that never happened and move on with our day. You know, like the second Pacific Rim movie that they never made.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't mind the first one. I liked the
Well, the
first
first
one. That was a
one's
good
great.
concept.
I love the first one. I mean, it's giant robots fighting giant monsters. Where do I sign? But
Right.
you know, the second one, if you
I
haven't
didn't see
seen
the
it,
second one.
don't
I haven't seen the first one, unfortunately. It
Oh.
looked interesting. I just
watch the first one. It's if you like Godzilla movies, you'll fucking love it.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Hey, it seems I'm getting a bunch of notification off Gilded. Everybody's friending everybody here.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Republic is friending Talks a Lot.
Yep.
Pope is friending Talks a Lot. So I'm bringing people together. Look at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So everybody's that's cool. I'll definitely Pop Metallica. You dropped yours too. You don't mind if I
Yeah,
join in?
that's just my my user. I have my own server, but
Yeah.
I barely ever use it anymore.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Pope. It's Pope Metallicus. All
Yeah.
hail Pope Metallicus the first.
Metallicus. I love it.
I went for just like the most blasphemous thing I could possibly imagine. Like, what would really, really piss off the really self-righteous people? I know.
But
If there was a
Let me
metal
know.
pope.
check this out. He got his avatar done. Check this out. You got the Pope hat. You got the rough shirt, the Rush shirt. You got the flying V that he has or he's going to have. And
I'm building it. Well, I'm going to be building it pretty soon here.
And he's got a super cool belt buckle. You can't quite tell because it's too small, but like
That,
this,
I don't even know where that came from. That was just where he went with it. I didn't even say anything about that, but I love it.
yeah, there we go. It almost looks like Southern, like the Rebels.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I do have a beard like a Civil War general, so
That's right. So all right.
It's dynamite.
Yeah, No Name really did a great job on that one. I love that he managed to get the lightning striking the guitar. That was awesome.
Nice. So, anybody have any more thoughts of this? Roll the Bones.
I mean, it was a decent album.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just kind of one of those. It's there, and the records.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost like forgettable, but not
Forgettable. Yeah, you got to be a diehard fan to appreciate this album.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
I'd say. And by this time I had dropped off. I'm just listening to whatever they come out, whatever pop or hit single that they have on the radio by this time. And by now we're in 91, early 90s. I was working full time and Rush by then. The great years were behind me or behind them, in my opinion.
Mm.
So,
Yes,
this
although they would have
album-
one really big spike later,
yeah.
which
Well, it's
fortunately
like,
for me is the album I bought.
But like Sentinel said, they do a comeback to their heavy stuff later on into their near the end there.
right here.
So
This-
counterparts.
Yeah. This was a much heavier album than they've done for years.
Yeah, this one was actually really surprising digging through for when it came out because bands were running away from the heavy side as fast as they could in the early 90s. And then these guys just went right for it.
It's a-
And this one immediately whipped my head around. I was like, wait, this is 90s Rush?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oof. It was a very good album. I really like Counterparts. Did you guys like Counterparts?
Yes, I love it. I like
Yeah, that was one of those ones I was not expecting what I heard, and I immediately just was like, "Oh, cool! I'm in. Let's do this."
Yeah.
And I think the intro track has a lot to do on an album. Has a lot to do with not performance of it, but how people feel about it. Because if you don't reach out and grab people with that first track, a lot of them are just going to either tune it out and just be background noise, or it will, they'll just stop playing it or just not pay attention. And so,
Yeah.
when Animate came out, I was like, oh, okay, that's where we're going.
Dude, those drums, man. Those drums at the beginning of that song.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of early Tool in a lot of ways. Although Tool took a lot of influence from these guys in their musicianship and their progression.
Yep. They absolutely did. This was, I remember at the time, Primus was getting pretty big about this time, weren't they?
Yeah, this would be early Primus. So like they were around. I don't think they had really blown up yet. That would happen in like 95, 96, but these guys were definitely around and had toured with Rush repeatedly, I think.
Yeah. Rightfully so. Man, they are definitely wonderful musicians in their
They
own
are.
right.
Underrated band, and having seen them live, I did not know that Les Claypool could do things. I did not know half the things he does with a bass that you could do with a bass.
Yes. Well, Geddy does kind of the same kind of thing, but Les does a lot more of that slap that where he's like popping that shit. Where Geddy doesn't do it more. He's more of the got the two fingers. He's picking it kind of with this much more melodic. Where Man, Les Claypool though, holy shit, man!
Like
Freaking phenomenal.
His bass solo from Blue Collar Tweakers is still one of the best performances of a bass player I think I've ever seen.
Outstanding. I mean, even if you don't like Primus, man, you gotta appreciate what they were capable of. And that's again 3-man band, right?
Yep. And like I said, they performed Farewell to Kings in its entirety live. I saw it.
That's
and they
interesting.
did an excellent job of it.
Oh, and I did want to mention you guys were talking about Caress of Steel.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could not. That was one of those when I was getting into Rush, and I went back and listened to. Now that was a pretty forgettable album.
That was one of the ones you weren't into. I actually
Yeah, I
really
wasn't
liked
into
it.
that.
Well, that's how I introduced it. The most shit on by the fans and the most shit on by the critics. And I thought it was a good, heavy album. I didn't mind it at all, but it wasn't for everybody, I guess.
When you brought it up, when you said that most shit on album, I was kind of like, well, yeah. I
Although
understand.
not the best, not the best, kind of allusion to swordplay I've seen on a music album. That has to go to Iron Maiden's Flash of the Blade. Absolute monster of a track off of Power Slave. Which is, if you need to own an Iron Maiden record, own that one.
Well, I'll go check it out.
It has everything on it's awesome. But we'll get to them at some point.
Yeah, on Rumble. That's another thing. Republic Sentinel's new mission in life is to bring me over to Rumble. Me and
Yes.
all my streams.
Yes,
So
absolutely. We need to do
Come
that.
to the dark side.
What was the name of that album by Iron Maiden again?
Power Slave.
Say it again.
Power Slave.
Power Slave. Got it.
Power Slade.
I'm gonna look at that here just a little bit. I got to make supper for me and the boy. I'll listen to it.
Excellent. I think you're going to love Aces High.
All right. So moving on, gentlemen. Now this one would be Counterpart. Sorry. Test for Echo. What am I saying? Counterpart. Test for Echo. Now this was 95. Primus. 95. 96. September 96. Primus was out by then.
Yes,
And
Primus was
full blown,
already
right?
out and had toured with them already, I think. Because this
Okay.
started like a 20 or 30 year friendship that Les had with the band. And and that had to be cool for him because he was telling the story when I saw him live. He was a fan of Rush and had seen them back in San Francisco in like 1977.
Wow.
And
Nice.
was then getting to, play with the band and then also tour with them. And it was just, that had to be insane.
Yeah.
Like there was a clip I loved. The Foo Fighters were basically backing up Clean at Wembley Stadium.
Nice.
And the look on Dave Grohl's face, because he was playing guitar, was just fucking priceless. Because it was just like, guys, it's Brian May. I'm playing with Brian May. It's like, you know you're more famous than him, right, Dave? No, I don't. That's the awesome thing with a lot of the real musicians in the scene is you can tell who the real ones are because they get excited about the same shit we do.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed. Yeah. I'd be beside myself if I met Geddy Lee or Alex Lifes. I wouldn't know what to. My mouth. I would just seize up.
You'd be a schoolgirl, right? You'd be a schoolgirl.
Yes.
Feel like the one time I met General Kelly. And I'm just like, because he's a 3-star and I'm a PFC.
But see, now their platinum hits. This is like their last. Well, before that was Counterparts, which was their last platinum in sales. Now you're starting to fall down, not due to quality, but maybe interest in fans. But now it's gold records, nothing but gold records. That and the next 3 albums, their last 3 albums, is nothing but gold records. And I don't know why, they're still coming out with good, popular, powerful stuff, good lyrics, good music, good riffs, but the sales seem to have go down with these guys now.
Well, you have hard rock and metal being replaced by grunge and then new metal in the 90s. And as we get further on towards the 2000s, more and more people were just kind of walking out of the scene and just listening to the old stuff
Right, right.
because nothing coming out was really doing it for them. And growing up in this era, like I was still a young kid when this all came out. Like I never knew any better.
Right.
And then I think the first album I ever owned was And Justice for All by Metallica.
Okay.
And that's when I really started to hear like, oh, that's why I hear so many older people shitting on these bands because they're just not that good.
They really aren't. You're right.
And then, I kind of went down the older rabbit hole of I started with Maiden because Brave New World came out in 2000, and that was the only good album Maiden's ever done since 1988.
Right.
But, that kind of set me down the path of heavy metal because I was more like a hard rock and, classic rock fan at that point.
That's right.
And then that sent me down this path. And then I, was listening to Dio, Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, Megadeth
As well, because I remember them from
Megadeth fan.
I'm actually probably the first episode I do on Rumble. It's a good thing I met you before I did it because that's going to be Rust in Peace.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic album, man. Oh my God, dude.
They're
Megadeth-
magnum opus.
One of the things I really, really was, besides Rush, introducing that to my son, Megadeth. I mean, you just like, I don't know. It informed my politics. It informed my my view of the world. It just, man, Megadeth is it's another band besides Rush. It's another band that I get like all psyched up when I listen to it. Just I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
We'll get to that another time.
When this album came out, Test for Echo, I thought Test for Echo was a great fucking song. That Vertigo, that whole thing I thought it was good. And then Driven was really good. That was like back getting heavier, like, where Rush wasn't quite so heavy. And now they're the counterparts. And then this album, Driven, was a great song, man.
Right.
Half the World, that was another good one. Totem was good. It's just definitely a quality album. Just didn't, like you said, it didn't take hold much, did it?
It didn't sell, yeah, because the fans were the fans, but they just didn't take to it. So
Yeah, unfortunately,
but a good album.
Yeah. Now,
And this one,
I don't know much about this album. What do
and
you know
neither,
about it?
neither do I. It came out in May 2002, and I'm not too familiar with it. There's nothing too memorable. Let me see what I can see here. Because full screen layout. All right, One Little Victory, Ceiling Unlimited, Ghost Rider. So that was a Neil Peart song. And I gotta show you a book after this, Sentinel. There's not a lot of big music, Nocturne and all that. It was just one of those albums that they just did, and not a lot of hit solos or hit singles, I should say.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, but not a lot of people know it. And again, it sold gold, and it came out in May 2002.
And this one kind of turned my head a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'm a 40K fan.
Okay.
And they have a song here called Nocturne.
Yeah.
Which is the homeworld of the Salamander Space Marine Legion. So I was like, wait,
what?
Are they 40K nerds too? Because I know they've made Tolkien references in the past.
That's wild.
And I've also already done an episode, and I've listened to Bolt Thrower, my entry into death metal, really. And they basically based their first few albums on Warhammer, both fantasy and 40K.
Oh, well, you know more than I do then. All right.
So that one I'd have to listen to it again to see if it's actually about that, but the title caught my eye.
Nocturne and the other one you said there.
Bolt Thrower is
Bolt
a band.
Thrower.
Is a band that I got into because through 40K, like because I'd never really gotten into the whole death metal thing.
Okay.
And then my buddy who was into death metal was like, "Hey, you might like these guys. They're a little more melodic, and they're based all of it on Warhammer. I know you're into that." So I'm like, "Yeah, it could be a shot." And then again, within a week, I think I own all 5 of their albums because I have a credit card and 0 self-control.
Oh wow. Okay. And great work ethics to pay it off, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. So that's Vapor Trail. Let me show you my favorite looking album. Snakes. Sorry. This is Snakes and Arrows.
Okay.
Okay.
This was the first one I ever bought from them.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Cool.
Because I heard, I think it was The Wheel on the radio, and I was like, "Who are these guys? They sound awesome."
Right.
And then I bought the album, and it's a great record. Again, they were going a little more back into their heavy side.
That's right. Just like what you said, Sentinel.
Well, I haven't, and honest to God, I haven't listened to this album. And since you said that, I'm going to listen to this album. I do own it. I just never listened to. I think I might have listened to like a song or two, and that's it. So I've got to go through and really give it a good listen, which would be good because I love Rush and I kind of miss them. So
Yes.
Yeah, they were great. This was a great record, and the only one I've never listened to is actually the last album on the list here. Because I liked them, but I was in the military at the time. I had a whole bunch of other stuff going on, and I just kind of fell by the wayside. I never knew they released it until years later, and it's been on my have to listen to list, and then I just never get to it because something knocks it down the list.
See, this one came out in May 2007.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
so I
what you
heard
remember.
this when I was in college,
Okay.
and then I was just like, "Oh, who the hell are these guys?"
And again, not a big selling. They just never sell more than gold record. So it's kind of funny.
And from now on, we're in the digital era too, where a lot of it gets pirated, a lot of it gets,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of it is all streamings, which doesn't get covered by Billboard and all that. So
And by then, pop already came to the top. Like they won the music war. Rap
yeah,
was-
rock and metal were kind of at their lowest ebb.
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
on life
Yeah, they were.
support.
The mid to late 2000s. And you know what? I'm happy to say that is reversing now. Rock
It
and
is.
metal are back in a big way.
Yeah.
And we love it.
And one of my one of the bands that I go to for just about anything anymore, like Seven Dust. I think
They're
one
still
of the-
around and doing great stuff. There's a lot of really good newer bands coming out of Sweden and Canada called the
Yeah,
New
what-
Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal. They're basically
Sabaton.
playing 80s style heavy and speed metal. It's freaking amazing. I love it to death.
My son, the coolest thing, because my son, he's 16, he introduced me to Sabaton. And,
Yes.
and I was like, okay, what's this? And holy shit, they're good, man.
And they're not a newer band. They've been around since 99.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, Iced Earth's been around since 89.
Wow.
Like they've been, well, that was the thing with metal in the 80s and 90s is if you weren't really plugged into the scene and paying attention,
It's
you never heard it because, especially if it was from anywhere in Europe, because we never got that over here. And then until the rise of the internet, people didn't really hear it.
well, Christian, if you think about it, right, we're Gen Xers, so
Yep.
really the whole metal scene like blew up with like right there in that MTV kind of like timeline, right?
Yeah. And early 80s, mid 80s.
I
Yeah.
still remember Iron Maiden being brought to court over those kids that
That wasn't Iron Maiden. That was Judas Priest.
Judas Priest. Well, I think they brought Iron Maiden too, I think, eh?
yeah, they did because they were trying to say that they're I can't remember the album. The reason I remember I did a report on it in school.
Was it the one that said don't do suicide and the
Well,
suicide
it was,
song?
it was
Wasn't that
the song
Ozzy?
Better By You, Better Than Me by Judas Priest. It was the focus of the whole thing. And they were basically trying to blame the band for two kids trying to off themselves in
There were
and it
three
was a whole
of them,
tragic
and
thing. And they were it really kind of shook the band quite a bit. And yeah, Lady V, I'm in the same boat. I was born in '87, so we're kind of in that no man's land between the idiot millennials and the Gen Xers, who are actually pretty cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, their last album, okay, Clockwork Angel. And this is my favorite. This is my favorite art, especially the back.
Yeah.
It's got a good album. It's got a good cover to it. I've just unfortunately never listened to it.
I've not listened to it either.
Okay.
I feel terrible about it too. Like I will.
Yeah, like this is one of those bands I genuinely feel bad if I've not listened to one of their records. Like
Yeah.
even if I don't like it, I will still listen to it because it's them.
Yeah. To give them their due, I kind of feel like.
Now this is the artwork that I like. The old
That's awesome.
frigate with the airship on top and the wheels at the bottom. I just love those three things. It's just beautiful. Flying on top
it's
of the
a very
mountain range.
steampunk kind of thing where you've got like this rigged together airship with wheels on it. And it's really cool.
I know it is. And this one came out, their last album in June 2012. I think they did a tour through Cincinnati and all that with this album. So I think they did. And
Yeah, they did 2 more tours after this, I think. Mostly touring on their anniversary stuff. And then unfortunately they called it quits in like 2014.
Actually, 2015, believe it or not, their last song that they ever played was Working Man, August 1st, 2015.
As it should be.
As it should be.
What a great song that is.
The song that really just
One of the things,
broke them into the mainstream.
one of the things that pissed me off was that it took so long to get them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's like, how is that even possible with the impact that they had and the way that they broke boundaries with their music? They
And entire generations of musicians grew up listening to these guys. Now 2-3 generations of rockers now.
Well, wasn't it that guy there from Foo Fighters who brought them into he did the introductory speech?
Yeah, I think he did. Dave
Was
Grohl.
that him?
Yeah, and the
Grohl
funny
and
thing is the Foo
drummer there.
Fighters made it in before Rush did.
Yeah, that's blasphemy.
It
And
is.
I'm not saying Foo Fighters aren't good. They're one of the better alt rock bands out there.
I
But
agree.
They're not Rush in any way, shape, or form. And Dave will tell you that himself.
No, because didn't Dave start off as the drummer of Nirvana? And
Nirvana,
Yes, he did.
yeah.
couldn't play drums.
Yeah.
He openly admitted he couldn't play the drums. But I thought it was such a travesty when I found out that they were just getting introduced, whatever year that was, into the Hall of Fame. I was like, wait, how were they not one of the first?
I mean,
Yeah,
they
you'd think so.
did do it before Neil Peart died, fortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, he died 2020, so he died 7 years later, but still, why wait so long?
Was it 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like just a little while ago, doesn't it?
Which
What
one?
a tragic
Which-
story with him, huh? And
Yeah.
brain
he lost
cancer. Brain cancer.
and then he lost his wife and his daughter, right? Is that correct?
I don't know about his daughter, but he lost
He
his
lost
wife
his
shortly
wife
before.
before. His
Yeah.
wife died in 2016, I think, and then he got sick.
Yeah.
No,
Didn't
it
tell
was just
anybody.
tragic. And his dad just died in 2022 down in Hamilton.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then like I think less than 2 months before that, we'd lost Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh shit. I mean, like we're losing all of the real
Another
geniuses
one.
of that era.
Dude, that took me by total surprise. Both Pert and Eddie Van Halen. I was like, I didn't know they were sick. Did you guys?
Yeah, I mean, well, they were both very private about their lives later on. So that doesn't surprise me. Lemmy from Motorhead took me by surprise because he didn't tell anyone, not even the rest of the band, until he was already terminal.
Yeah.
Like they played their last show like 2 months before he died.
Oh, well,
And unfortunately, you could kind of tell on the last album and on the last tour that it wasn't the same Lem that we knew and loved. Like he sounded a lot weaker,
yeah.
and he was really thin, and I think a lot of people knew. But and then Ronnie Dio was touring right up until the end.
He
Like,
died
pretty
of
much until he
what?
was
Stomach
hospitalized.
cancer?
Lemmy died of, I believe,
No,
stomach
no,
cancer. Yeah.
Ronnie
Ronnie
James
James
Dio.
Yeah.
I think he died of, it was either stomach cancer or brain cancer. I can't remember which.
Okay. Yeah,
What's with all the cancer?
I know.
What
And
happened?
guys,
Just going out from a heart attack. Just
yeah,
kidding.
or drug overdose.
Drug overdose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
what happened
unfortunately,
in those days?
that's how a lot of rockers died in their prime.
Yeah.
The smart ones got sober and then
Died
know,
of cancer.
died of cancer later. And then there's Keith Richards, who never got sober, is like still like a million years old, and we're pretty
That's
sure
why
if he
I'm
gets
never gonna get
sober, it'll
sober.
kill him.
That's why I'm never going to stop drinking. Fuck it.
But
Yes.
I guess this takes our journey. We're pushing an hour and 55 minutes. I guess we've said pretty much everything there is to say about Rush. Well, I'm sure there's more to be said, but I think we pretty much gave them the honor that they deserve.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Dude.
this is
What a pleasure to talk about this band.
this was great. Like I'm happy you came in because this is your specialty, the second part of Rush, and that's why
Yeah.
I was happy I could have you with us. And thanks, Lady V. You could listen to us all night. Well, hey, we can have you all night talking to us. This is
That's
great
right.
too. You're part of the show too, Lady V, and
Absolutely.
everybody else.
But
But,
Metallicus, with the first one that you guys did, part one, that I'm sad that I missed out on it, but that you seem to be really informed about their earlier stuff. I thought you had a lot of insights on their earlier music. That was interesting. Some stuff that I didn't know about.
Well, I had
we
already
have a
done a show on that era of Rush on my channel with 70s. And so that was kind of more fresh in my memory because I'd already done the research and done an entire conversation on that. So I could kind of talk about that more in depth. Whereas this is the side of Rush I don't know as well.
And with me, it's the same thing. Like I like the classic Rush, the early Rush, like 74 on right up to probably 85, 86, right up till about Power Window. That's as far as I would go. And then after that, I'm kind of, it's Rush, but I don't listen to it. So my specialty and my love is more in their early stuff, like basically all the other music that I listen to. So I like the early stuff, the heavy, new stuff. But
Now, did either one of you guys say what your favorite album was from Rush?
Mine is Farewell to Kings, with 2112 being a very, very close runner-up. Like it might, like you ask me tomorrow, it might switch.
What about
and
you?
I'm going to be a contrarian. Caress of Steel. Fuck all of you. You're all wrong.
Yes. There you go. Be an outsider. I love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm my own man. I don't need anybody. I don't follow any waves.
Well, like I was saying that 2112 to me, while I enjoyed it, I think that Hemispheres was better. Hemispheres,
I can see that, to be perfectly honest.
So
It depends on where your musical tastes lie and stuff like that. For me, I love the classical influence on 2112. It was a 20-minute rock opera, and then they still had a couple of really good kind of throw-in tracks at the end.
yeah, absolutely.
So it takes a lot of skill to put a piece together that well and to have it be 21 minutes and still be entertaining at the end of it. Like I can't wait to see what they're doing next.
And then play it live.
Yeah, that's the thing. Something like that.
Holy shit, skill.
That was what we would call like an album queen. Like we did this amazing, brilliant musical performance, and then we never do it live because we can't.
But,
But they do it.
but
Yeah.
you know what? Brian was telling when he saw them live, he could tell they were struggling. Alex Lyson was struggling. Said, okay, how did I do this in the studio? We're doing it live. How the hell did I do this? All right, I got another 6 minutes to go. So it was just awesome.
I can't play. Hey, there's a lot to it, and Alex was really like put to his test on that album too. I mean, he performed extremely well on that. And
I sympathize. There's riffs I've written I can't remember 10 minutes later. So I'm like, this is why I really need to start recording my practice sessions, because, like, sometimes I'll just kind of freeform and just kind of finger around the fretboard and see what I come up with. And then sometimes I'll come out with something that sounds like, oh, that sounded really cool. Now, how did I do that?
It's got record everything.
Yeah, I
That's
have
right.
to start doing that, and I haven't been.
So that's good. So do you display any of your music anywhere?
No, that one's pretty much just a private project for now. I may get good enough at some point that I'll either start a band down here in Virginia, or maybe I'll just put it up online and see, put it up the flagpole and see who salutes.
Well, I mean, look at Tom McDonald.
Oh
He
yeah,
blew the hell up, and all on his own on YouTube with him and his wife or girlfriend, whatever she is, and just amazing, right? So the internet, for as much as everybody shits on the internet, and I'll do it too, but I still, I don't know, Christian, you and me,
Yeah.
we're definitely older than Pope, but I appreciate that we grew up in a time where there was no internet. There wasn't even like wireless phones or any of that. I was the channel changer for my dad in the 70s.
Yeah.
I'd go out
And the beer getter in the fridge, in the bar fridge.
yes.
I was that guy too.
Yep, me too. And then we got to see this whole transition into computers and internet and wireless and all this. It's amazing time to be alive, in my opinion. And the internet, for as bad as people can make it, there's just loads of information. You can definitely, if you're looking for something, you can find it. And I do appreciate that about the internet. I think the social media aspect is what destroys the value that's actually in the internet, in my opinion, anyway.
it's like, yes, it's a cesspit of degeneracy, but there are also really bright spots in it, and
Yes.
some of the best things about it is bringing the world together, especially musically, because we're hearing bands now like the Who from Mongolia and stuff like that we never would have gotten even 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Look at it this way. We never would have done this growing up. A guy from the Midwest, a guy from the East Coast, and a guy from Canada sitting down talking Rush, So technology does have its benefits. The only thing I don't like, and you pointed that out into your music show this morning, the censorship. That
yeah.
I really hate. Hey, you can't even say mama jokes anymore without somebody having a confuction or freaking out or stuff like that.
And I'm certainly, a victim of the censorship era, being banned off multiple platforms for saying shit that we said in the Marine Corps all the time. I'm sure Sentinel is well aware of our sense of humor.
Absolutely.
And truckers' sense of humor.
Oh, God, yeah.
We're borderline the same thing there.
The fat shaming thing was the one that got me, because, we're used to be like, instead of like, oh no, you're not fat, you're beautiful. Like, we'll turn around and be like, I know 5 fat people and you're 4 of them.
Yeah.
Or better yet, once upon a time, I would have rolled you in flour and looked for the wet spot.
Yeah. Careful. There goes the channel.
No. Like Corey says, I'm not making money. They don't care.
No, that's true. That's not exactly true, because
I've gotten a couple mushroom shut down
time on YouTube, and they silenced me twice, took down 2. That was when I was like, fuck off. I'm going to Rumble, where they will not censor me outside of like calling for death to somebody. But what the hell happened? Comedy was that one area, right? In like music and comedy were places where you could talk about everything. And if you got offended, fuck off. And that was what people did. They would fuck off. They'd know, I'll go listen to something else, or I'll go watch something else. Comedy.
You can't say that.
What's that?
You can't say that. That's mean. It's like, so
what happened to Sticks and Stones?
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Geez, these people are too damn sensitive. That's why I've been raising my son to understand words can do nothing unless you let them.
And the simple fact that if you let them use their words to offend you, this is what I've been teaching my son and my daughter. You're giving them power over you, and they don't even have to wrestle you to the ground. They're just using words, and you're giving them the power. This is pointless. But mind you,
agency that way.
Unlike you, Sentinel, you do not agree in violence. Sometimes I think violence is needed. Those mouthpieces, maybe a shot in the head might change their attitude adjuster, corporal punishment, not extreme, but just a little slap or a little punch here and there. It's not weak, it's doing the other person a favor. You know what I mean?
This is
Violence is a tool to be used for the correct purposes.
Well, the only argument,
Like opening a paint can with a screwdriver.
And the point is the paint can's open. Nobody got hurt.
Hopefully nobody got hurt.
No, but Sentinel thinks, I'm going to put words in your mouth, Sentinel. I'm going to speak on your behalf. I apologize. Sentinel thinks if you refer to violence, it's a weak character and a weak mind, which is a half truth.
It is true.
It is a half truth. You're correct.
I think you shouldn't be the one to initiate violence. I very much prefer what my ancestor John Parker said on April 19, 1775. Do not fire unless fired upon. If they mean to have a war, let it begin here. Basically, we're not going to back down, but we're not going to shoot first, which is ironic considering we now later learned that we did in fact shoot first.
Yeah, your first president shot first against the Brits.
Well, no, it was some drunken farmer at like 4 a.m. on April 19, 1775 at Lexington. But later reports have kind of all coalesced on there was a shot that came out from the militia side.
See, I thought that was that it all really started in Boston.
Well, it did, and then it spilled out. Lexington's only about 20 minutes from Boston.
Yeah.
So, they marched out to seize the weapons at Concord, which is, further along the road, but Lexington had been warned and their militia stood up, and all 77 of them, obviously not a threat to 700 British regulars, but they still stood there and fought. And, towards the end of the day, all of the local militias from the entire region were coming in. So it ended up being like 600 something redcoats versus about 4,000 militia, which, those odds are quite a bit scarier for the Brits.
Dude, you're tapping the sweet spot with me. This is my favorite subject.
Oh, dude,
But
we're going to have to do shows like this.
Guys, we're going to finish off in the green room. I just want to know, do you guys want to know anything to add to Rush? Let's start with you, Republic Sentinel.
Brilliance, absolute brilliance. The world is a worse place without Neil Peart.
Yes.
They defined themselves through music and continually changed. They challenged themselves. These are things that a lot of bands don't do anymore. They just find their groove, their genre, and then they recreate the same fucking song over and over again. Rush wasn't that. Rush challenged themselves. They challenged music. They challenged their fans. And it was you just don't have bands like this anymore. And I can't express how much this band had an impact on my life, my approach to music, and my hats off to all three of these gentlemen for doing such a fantastic job at their craft.
Agreed. And Pope, any final words about the band?
I mean, it's impossible to overstate how good these guys are, not only in their performance and their demeanor, but also their impact on the scene. Like, music will never be the same after Rush came out, especially progressive music, because they just absolutely changed the meaning of the term. Like, because you had Genesis and you had King Crimson and a couple of other bands, but nobody really embodies the term progressive rock more than Rush. And these three gentlemen are going to live in rock and roll Valhalla forever for what they have done here. And that is a hard thing to accomplish.
It is.
And we'll still be listening to, well, not we, but people will still be listening to them in 100 years from now, because that's how good the sign of a great band.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So, Sentinel, you want to pimp your channel on Rumble or anything? You want to pimp something? Tell us what you're doing with yourself, where we can find you, and also all these good things.
Well, I'm technically, I still have Republic Sentinel on YouTube. Christian, I don't I don't come here anymore just because I don't want to be in a place where they censor, man. I just
Right.
it's like it's not that it's terrible. They weren't terrible to me. It's just I almost I take it offensively, and I think that's maybe a Gen X thing. I don't know. Maybe it's more than that, but Gen X, we were like, you're not gonna
Mama
tell
jokes.
me what the
Mama
hell-
jokes.
Yeah. Dude, well, on top of that, it's like anti-authority for
Yeah.
that from start to finish. So, but I am on Rumble, and I can't thank you enough for bringing me on here for this. I've been looking forward to this for the couple of 2-3 weeks that we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
On Rumble, he's Credence Gold. He's always in my chat. He's always chatting it up, and I love that kind of stuff. I do. I've got Republic Sentinel on Rumble and TRS News. That's the Republic Sentinel News, but it's just called TRS News. And I try and do that every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And come check it out. Join me.
And Your Holiness the Pope, what's going on with you?
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, we're going to be getting back into doing more rock and roll religion over on Rumble.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be a really, really good thing. To be able to play the music and show you guys what we're talking about. Because that's the one thing missing from music channels on YouTube now is I remember like the early days with like Razor Fist doing his Metal Mythos and all these other
Yeah.
things where you could actually play the songs and or play clips of it and let people hear what we're talking about. And because, talking about music is like describing color to a deaf person or to a blind person. You can't really describe it properly. And you really won't get anything out of it until they understand the frame of reference that we're going for here.
Absolutely correct.
And so hopefully we'll be getting back into that very soon here. Hopefully I'll have both of you guys on that channel very, very soon.
Yeah.
And
in the link, we'll be there.
Absolutely. Just
We will
what's your channel name? I'm gonna
Pope
look you up
Metallicus
right
the
now.
first.
What's that?
Pope Metallicus the first on both Rumble and YouTube. I was fortunately fast enough on Rumble that nobody had claimed that by the time I got there.
I'm looking you up right now. And yes, I would love to speak with both of you guys again about whatever music that you want to talk about, because this has been a pleasure.
And Pope Sentinel's he wants to do a one-on-one interview channel. Why don't you tell us about that, Sentinel?
That's a lot of when I really came into Rumble, I did gaming live streams, right? Because I was so sick and tired of the BS with politics that I just went, I'm just gonna game because I game anyway. So I started gaming and people would come into the chat. We'd have these discussions, right? And then the next thing I know, people are saying we should just have a channel where we do this. I wanted to get back into the news, and now by the end of this month, I hope to have a discussion channel set up, and I have a host of people that want to join in, and we could just choose a subject and just talk about it.
And just
The War of Independence.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And we could have another discussion about Rush where Christian, if I can sucker you into coming over to Rumble, you could play Rush's music in the background and you'll never get hit for
I
it.
know. That's what I want to do. But I got to talk to somebody about Rumble because Rumble's extremely complicated to me. Like I can't even change my own name, and so forth.
That's true.
So anyway, I'd have to have a sit down. But anyway, we're going to end the stream. We'll go in the green room and finish our conversation. Everybody who's been watching, who will be watching, and who enjoys a bunch of dudes just enjoying talking about their love of music. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for letting us share this with you. And until the next time, be good. Thank you.